Let's go to State Senator Tom Garrett. Tom is from Central Virginia. He now is the Republican candidate for Congress in the 5th District in Virginia. He is a very heavy favorite to win that seat and to replace the retiring Robert Hurt. And Senator Garrett won a convention back on May 5, I believe, in his district in the 5th District. Senator Garrett, soon to be, I think, Congressman Garrett. Good to have you on our show, Tom.
Good to be on the show. Nobody predicted the win. Can you name a single talk radio host who predicted the win?
Me.
Okay, there's one.
Yes, I predicted it. I predicted right out of the box. In fact, I said it wouldn't be close. And although, there was a first ballot thing at the end of the day, you were the nominee. By the way,
17.6%. It was a squeaker.
Yeah, it was a blowout. So I know you want to be humble, but it's a blowout. And look, I'm excited about your fall campaign. I think you're in good shape for that. And getting new, fresh blood in Congress like yourself and Scott Taylor, I'm really excited about it. Hope, Tom, because a lot of us now just feel that the whole system is rigged. You got Paul Ryan up there. Yeah, he made some statements about Comey, but he's basically backed Obama on every single thing he's done. The only criticism you get out of Paul Ryan is on Trump. And we're looking for people to go to Washington and shake things up and speak for the people and not the elites. And we hope that, Tom, when you win, you're going to be able to do that.
Well, let me tell you how you can tell whether you got that or you got somebody who's just running for perpetual elected office. And that is the candidate who, when they establish a record, is willing to zig when conventional wisdom suggests that they should zag. I know Taylor's done it a lot with some outreach into some non-traditional Republican communities. I represent about 55% of the city of Lynchburg, where Liberty University is located, a great institution founded by Jerry Falwell, but I also carried the bill to repeal Virginia's archaic and draconian sodomy ban that prevented anything but the most traditional familiarities between married couples. And people said, you can't do that, that'll hurt you. And I said it's stupid for the government to impose laws restricting behavior of consenting adults behind closed doors. And so after 400 years of stupidity almost, we took that off the books in Virginia. So if you want to find men and women who will go do what's right, look for people who will take uncomfortable bills, who will take uncomfortable stands, who will do things that conventional wisdom says you can't do or you shouldn't do. And that's where you're going to find those folks. But back to the situation at hand, let's just take Comey at his word, which is a stretch for me, okay, because he's totally rewritten jurisprudence as it relates to specific intent and strict negligence offenses. But let's just say he's right. Well, if Comey's so daggone wise, why is it then that my opponent and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama won't listen when the man says that there is no possible way to protect Americans and properly vet tens of thousands of young men between 18 and 32 coming from war-torn Islamist conflict nations? If Comey is so darn intelligent, if the Democrats who will log this decision believe so strongly that this man is wise, how come they choose not to listen to him on that? How come they choose to ignore Mr. Trump on that and Mr. Comey?
Because it doesn't fit their narrative, Tom. I mean, that's the bottom line. They have an agenda and a narrative, and Director Comey is just a clog in their system. He's just a spoke in their wheel that they manipulate and get to do whatever they want. I mean, look, I got to just ask you this. I know you saw the press conference yesterday morning. You had to be thinking yourself, as a lawyer, as a former prosecutor, after 6 minutes, you had to be saying to yourself, like I was and my wife was, oh my heavens, I can't believe it. She's going to get indicted. And then it just was like, well, there's no precedence for this. What the hell does that mean?
Well, the sad thing is, John, there's a precedence now, right? So anyone who chooses to set up their own private email server from now on, so long as they assert that they didn't mean to lose any classified documents, I guess walks.
I mean, what about...
there will be congressional action to rewrite a law that shouldn't need to be rewritten.
It's not going to matter. You know what? Nothing they do up there matters. I mean, that is what's so frustrating today. Senator Garrett, for so many people is they're losing belief in the American governmental value system that, people like me grew up with, believing that we had something special. I don't think we have anything special now. I think we got crap based on what I saw yesterday.
Here's the problem, John. You got two choices. You can fight or you can quit, and I don't like quitting, and I do enjoy a fight. So there we are.
Well, we got to keep fighting.
But you're right. Everything you're saying is right. There's nothing that I could say to assuage the concerns of a citizen. The sanctity of the ballot.
You got to ask yourself, look, enough people have called into my show. Legit 2008, at least 6 to 8 million illegals voted in the 2008 election. They have no idea how many of those voted in 2012 or how many will vote in 2016. It could be upwards of 8, 9, 10 million. No one knows. So we have no sanctity.
In 2004, they found 6,000 votes in one precinct in Philadelphia, all for John Kerry before the polls opened. So, if Mr. Trump wins 51-49, I'd wager that it's more like a 53-47 win. That's how bad it is. But, the alternative is to stop trying, and that's not any alternative at all.
Well, that's why it's critical. We have one last shot with Trump, I think, in 2016, but that's not good enough. Tom, we have to send people like Tom Garrett and Scott Taylor and many others to Congress that actually are going to do there and fight and get something done for us. And they're not part of the political elite class. That is why we were so excited and predicted that Taylor was going to win. I mean, I like Randy. Great guy, did a great job. Part of the problem, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he's talking about building ships and our government is collapsing around us. I mean, you got to get up there, Tom, and you got to fight and try to change it. And, maybe if we send a new batch of...
I think you're right. But if it's the last gasp, if this is the last chance, what needs to happen is Mr. Trump needs to undo all the harm that's been done specifically to the Justice Department. And then Republicans need to quit worrying about hurting people's feelings, which I think Mr. Trump's figured out, and go aggressively after those who have co-opted and hijacked our system. And they need to be made to pay, and they need to be made to pay dearly so that there's a precedent. And the mid-level bureaucrats of justice need to be rooted out of there. And people need to be brought in who understand that the rule of law still has a meaning, and it applies to people regardless of whether their last name's Clinton. That's the only way, because the rule of law is what keeps people coloring between the lines. Opportunity creates a thief, and the Clintons have been never held to account, so certainly the malfeasance will continue.
So how does...
Cattle futures, John, cattle futures from Darcy Park and so many other things.
Oh, my goodness.
An unindicted co-conspiracy and the cover-up of illicit acts with interns in the Oval Office. It doesn't end. What difference at this point does it make for dead Americans? The unwillingness to act, to lift a finger. Of course, no help got there because no help was sent. The list goes on and on. Accountability.
And look, at the end of the day, it's not going to amount to a hill of beans. And I've said this for some time. If you're going to beat Hillary Clinton, you're not going to beat her. Trump is not going to beat her on Benghazi, Trey Gowdy, symposiums on what should have happened then. She didn't answer the phone, emails, servers. He's going to have to beat her on the key issues that matter to Americans. And then hopefully if he gets in there with people like yourself by his side, he can actually get something done. I got to ask you this question. If you're General Petraeus right now, former CIA director, who had his entire career destroyed, decorated general and soldier, CIA director, his entire life destroyed over giving what may have been classified emails to his mistress in writing memoirs. How do you feel right now if you're Petraeus?
Well, it goes so far beyond that. There's a Marine Reserve captain who sent a classified email to a base in Afghanistan warning them of an individual who was allowed back on the base who ultimately killed 3 Marines. And the only person prosecuted in that process was the Marine who sent the warning. I mean, if you're Martha Stewart, who went to federal prison for lying to investigators, how do you feel right now? Mm-hmm. It's mind-numbing. But, again, I mean, we have two choices, fight or quit. But I'm telling you, if we win this one, the ship of state's going to need to turn on a dime because we are headed towards the falls. So let me say this, John. I appreciate your confidence in our race. I'm going to make a shameless plug, TomGarrettForCongress.com. There's a donate button. Because we had a nominating contest and the Democrats didn't, we are way behind the eight ball in fundraising. Virginia's 5th District was represented by a Democrat as recently as 6 years ago. We need everybody's help. So there's my shameless plug for the show.
What's your website?
TomGarrettForCongress.com, and click on the donate button, and we need everybody's help. Again, the stage is set for us to do great things here, but in the quantifying contest that is funds raised, we are soundly in the trail position. So, that's something. Money is message. Although I'll tell you, Mr. Trump is sitting back in the foxhole a little bit too, and I'm pretty confident that there's some fight left in him as well. So everybody get involved and help out, and it's not, this country's too great to give up on.
Tom, when you win and you get up there, are you going to sell us out like everybody else?
Yeah, I can't because I am us. I've never differentiated myself between the people who I have the honor to represent, and so if I sell the people out, then I'm selling my children out, and I'm selling myself out. And the fact that I was lucky enough to be born in this country to Tom and Lois Garrett, who, a mother who thought I could do anything, and a father who'd kick my tail if I didn't give it my best effort, means that I understand this whole thing's a lot bigger than me. And so I'm too firmly implanted in the us category to sell us out myself.
All right. I want you to remember this conversation. You're going to win, Tom. Please send Tom some campaign donations to ensure his victory, and we're going to hold him accountable to this conversation. And Tom Garrett promises us he's not going to sell us out to the D.C. donor globalist elite base that seems to get their claws in everybody that goes up there except a handful. Tom Garrett, thanks for being with us. Good luck. We'll have you back.
John, God bless and Godspeed.
All right. This is the John Fredericks Radio Network. We're just looking for somebody to fight for us.